channel. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to answer threats and checks in chess. So, let's get started. And please make sure to subscribe and ring the notification. You can see that white is winning. But black is going to do a threat by trying to capture the queen and protecting his bishop. So let's say if n moves to e6, the queen is under attack. That is what we call a threat. Now, there's multiple ways to answer a threat, but the first thing you should always do is to just run away. It's like move here, or like move here, or just move over here. That is the first thing if you're in threat. Type of threat support is, so let's say he moves to f5. He's threatening to take over this pawn. So the second thing you should always do is to support this pawn with backup. For instance, you can move this pawn up, or this pawn, or maybe even this knight, or you could even use this knight. That's the second way of answering a threat. You can support it. The third way of answering a threat. So now, let's say white moves to b4. Now, he's threatening to take this rook. Well, there's many things you could do. But now we're just going to focus on blocking. That's the third way of answering the threat, is to block the threat. So, you see that it's going to attack the rook. What pieces can you use to block it? Well, you can block it with this bishop. Now you have to get to the bishop, then you can kill it with one of your knights. Or you can defend with this knight. And then you have to get past the knight, but by then you probably captured him. Or you can use the other knight. Now he has to pass through it in order to get to his point. So that's how you defend a threat. This is the third technique, and you must use all of them in order from 1 to 5. Fourth way to answer threat. So let's say white moves the bishop to c4. So it's bc4. He's threatening to take this rook. So he can kill it with this pawn, and so now the threat is no more. Or he will kill it with his queen, and the threat's no more. Or he can kill it with his knight, and then that's it. The threat is gone. So that's the fourth way you can defend your threat. Let's say the knight will move to a6, threatening to take this bishop. Now, we know the bishop is protected, but let's just say he wants to make a deal. But you don't want to do that, and you don't want to support it. So this is the other thing you can do. It's called counterattack. You attack another one of his pieces. So with this bishop here, now I'm attacking this rook. If he takes my bishop, I'll take his rook. So that's counterattack, and that's the final strategy in Now, I'll be teaching you some forcing moves, which basically what it does, it makes an opponent is forcing the opponent to make a move, which is gonna be good for you, or even check. A check is very forcing because he either has to defend the king or move the king, or capture the piece which is attacking the king. So, let's move our queen to e5. Now, the king is in check. So he has to move his bishop or his knight. If he moves his knight here, you're forcing him to move his knight here. And now you can take it. And now he's probably going to use his bishop to block. Then you can come here and continue the game. So, yeah. But now if I go here, he can bring his bishop like that. See, you're forcing him to put his bishop there. That's what a forcing move does. And checks are really effective at type of forcing move. So, if I capture this pawn on this rook on b5, I'm gonna have a checkmate on c7. So in order to block that, black would move this. And see, you're forcing black to move this bishop, or you're forcing black to kill your knight, which will lead him in a bad position because you're about to promote and get another queen, rook, bishop, or knight. Forcing moves, it's threats. Before I showed you how to answer threats. Now I'm going to show you that threats is a really good forcing move, but it's third. So you're going to take your queen. So now what we want to do is to get rid of this and this so we can checkmate over here. So if we move the queen here, we are now threatening these two. So if they move this, let's see over here, we can take this one. If they decided to move this, we could take that and then promote this to get a queen. So threats are a pretty good way of forcing. To answer a threat, you must go down the lines. So first, you should try to run away. If you can, then support the piece. If you can't do either of those, block the threat. If you can't do that either, capture the threat. Or this the last one, counter attack. So attack another piece on the enemy's side. That's the possible ways of answering threats. For forcing moves, you should always first go with checks, and then captures, and then after that you check threats. So you must always go through. I'll give you 20 seconds to solve it. I think that was 20 seconds, but I'm going to show the answer. So the first move is bishop b6. The next only move for black is k a8. Next, white's gonna do r c8. And then black's gotta come over here. So now the checkmate is r b8. And that's it. He's checkmated. So that's the fun puzzle. Stay tuned for more chess videos and origami videos. See you.